It was supposed to be just another ordinary shift for Adam, a single father doing everything he could to keep food on the table and his daughter smiling. The diner buzzed with the clatter of plates, the hum of quiet conversations, and the warmth of comfort food filling the air. He worked evenings, wiping tables and serving customers, while his 6-year-old daughter Lily quietly colored at the corner booth. She always sat there with her little backpack, a pink crayon in her hand, and her hair tied back in a neat ponytail, the kind her mother used to do before she passed away. Tonight, the diner had an air of sharp suits and loud laughter. A group of wealthy businessmen had entered, loud and boisterous, dressed in tailored coats and watches that could buy a car. They weren't rude, at first, just demanding, snapping fingers for refills and extra sauces like they were owed the world. Adam stayed professional, wiping his brow in the kitchen before each trip back to their table. He couldn't afford to lose this job. But then it happened, the moment that would define everything. One of the men, clearly the drunkest and most arrogant of the group, leaned back in his seat and waved lazily toward the corner where Lily sat drawing quietly. "Hey, waiter," he called out with a smirk. "Is that your kid? She's cute." Adam looked up, surprised but polite. "Yes, sir. That's my daughter, Lily." The man chuckled. "Tell her to come sit on my lap. I've got something for her." The diner fell quiet. Conversations paused. Even the radio behind the counter stopped mattering. Adam froze in place. He looked from the man's glassy, smug eyes to Lily's small frame curled up in the booth, completely unaware of the ugliness that had just been spoken. And in that moment, something inside him cracked, but not from anger. From love. From the fire only a father could feel when something precious is threatened. "She's not for sale," Adam said, his voice low but full of steel. The man blinked, then scoffed. It was a joke. But Adam wasn't laughing. No, it wasn't. He took off his apron and walked to Lily, scooping up her drawing. A messy, adorable picture of the two of them holding hands beneath a stick-figure sun. He gently lifted her backpack and took her hand, his own trembling. The manager rushed over, trying to smooth things over. "Adam, please, just—" "No," Adam said. "There's a line." And he crossed it. He turned to the customer one last time. "Some people think money means you can have anything. But my daughter isn't a thing. She's my world." And with that, Adam walked out, heart pounding, not knowing what tomorrow would bring. Only that tonight, he had done what was right. Outside, the air was cold and sharp, typical of a Canadian winter evening. Snowflakes began to fall gently, catching in Lily's hair. She looked up at her dad, wide-eyed. "Are we in trouble?" Adam kneeled in the snow, hands on her shoulders. "No, sweetie. We're okay. We'll always be okay." They walked home that night, slower than usual, not because of the snow, but because of the weight lifted off his chest. He had no job now, no guarantee of rent next month. But he had his dignity. And more importantly, he had protected the one thing that mattered more than anything. The next morning, something unexpected happened. A woman who had been in the diner, sitting quietly in the corner during the whole scene, shared what happened online. A simple post with the caption, "Not all heroes wear capes. I saw a single dad stand up for his daughter last night in the most courageous way." Within hours, the story spread. Messages poured in. Local news picked it up. Offers came from jobs, community support, even a crowdfunding page that raised more than Adam could have ever imagined. The owner of a nearby bookstore offered him a part-time job with flexible hours and a small apartment above it. For the first time in a long time, things were looking up. Lily went to sleep that night in a warm bed, her father close by, and no longer worried about being left alone in a diner corner while he worked. And Adam? He learned that doing the right thing doesn't always come easy, but it always brings the right kind of people into your life. Sometimes, it takes standing up in a quiet room, facing down power and pride, to remind the world what love looks like. Not the kind bought with money or words, but the kind you live for, fight for, and walk away from everything to protect. And that night, in the hush of falling snow, one single dad proved to the world that real strength isn't found in your wallet, but in your heart.